Hello friends, this past week was far from the easiest for the financial market. We saw an increase in geopolitical tension related to the situation in the Middle East, a crash in the energy market, and escalating concerns in international security. And this immediately affected the behavior of the financial markets. Increased volatility, sharp movements, and shifts in market phases. All of this created an extremely difficult environment for algorithmic trading. The market was literally breaking its own structure. One moment a trend would appear, then it would suddenly reverse, and such conditions are equally difficult for both trend strategies and reversal systems. It's during periods like these that it becomes clear how resilient your trading system or entire portfolio really is. Despite such pressure, my core index showed a very important result. Its trading drawdown was less than 1%, and that's no accident. These are the results of diversification, where when one system loses, another can profit, and when one strategy fails, another picks up the momentum. And as a result, the portfolio continues to maintain balance even in difficult conditions. Now let's take a look at exactly how the systems within the core index performed over the past week. So guys, all the systems within the core index over the past week reacted to the pressure from global geopolitics and oil prices in different ways. And thanks to that, diversification worked well, and my core index dropped by only 1%, even a little bit less than 1%. So, based on the results of each week, I make a table like this where I list the main parameters, and the biggest disappointment of the previous week was Project Pegasus, which crashed in this particular way. While the best system, which showed the best result in percentage terms, was the Jackal system, which I'm going to show you right now. Let me walk you through it. Overall, it withstood all the market pressure quite well, meaning it practically didn't crash, and it even grew by 4% over the course of this period. As for the other systems, they showed symbolic growth or symbolic loss and didn't significantly affect the portfolio. But let's start with the first system on my list, which is One Man Army Double Shot. It's part of my portfolio. With a small amount of capital, here is its profitability chart. The week started with roughly this kind of drawdown, which was then covered by the subsequent trading operations and overall for the week. I'll show you now how I calculate the weekly result. I simply take the monitoring on my FX book for this trading bot and set a filter for the date range starting from March the 23rd all the way through to March the 29th. And after applying this filter, I get over 2.5% profit for this period. This way, I can see the profit factor. Let's take a closer look at the best and worst trades, as well as some other important technical indicators that you should definitely pay attention to. I can also calculate the average trade duration in the market. So, the one-man army system itself actually provided me with over 2.5% growth and turned out to be one of the best in the portfolio this past week. Moving on. The Scopoli system. Scopoli gave a symbolic loss. The price chart without a filter by time looks like this. So we had from the start of the week, we began around here, ended here, a symbolic trading drawdown, but it's not over yet. Trading operations are open for 2 trades. The result will be part of this current week, the report for which will be in the next video. Overall, Scopoli actually gave us what was really just a symbolic 0.5%. Actually, it was even less than half, more like a 0.25%, so the loss was minimal. In money, that's $7. This is actually really very good, especially because the market was very volatile and unpredictable. And overall, the trading bot handled it very well. SharkFX really pleased me this week, and I have to say, it is currently published, which is something I truly appreciate. On the MQL5 market, and it continued its steady and consistent upward growth chart, gradually moving higher. In a month, it has already earned 15%, and overall, as we can see, based on the results, it ranked second in efficiency. Over the past week, it brought in almost $100 in profit, nearly 3% growth. And it supported the portfolio very well, especially because it has one of the largest capital sizes, which really helped to strengthen the overall stability of the portfolio at the moment. Moving on. Investor Superstar showed a loss of over 1%. In terms of money, it's not much. It's a $45 loss. Let's look at its profitability chart. We see that it's dipped slightly. Overall, for the month, it hasn't shown great results. For the year, over 3 months, it hasn't really shined either. But overall, it operates as a medium-term strategy. It works on the H1 time frame. That's the hourly time frame. And this system can provide very strong growth. Literally say, in 1 week, it could grow by, for example, 10 to 15%. Every system works differently. The trading drawdown is still below 5%. I think it's a good system to keep in the portfolio and further refine it later on. We'll see how it performs. For the current week, it showed a small loss, so I can't say anything bad about it at all. Moving on. Flashcalper also brought a symbolic loss. Let's see. At its results on the price chart, as you can see, everything is quite steady, everything is quite predictable. There are small trading drawdowns. For the year, it's already in the black. For the month, it's almost 3% growth. So this system really does a great job of diversifying my portfolio overall, making it well balanced. Merkava also gave a symbolic loss, less than 1%. Let's take a look at its results as displayed on the price chart. And we can see that yes, it's not really growing at the moment. But it's also not, let's say, experiencing a deep drawdown either. Everything is still within the projected drawdown. For the year, it's still at a loss over 3 months. That happens too. It works again on the time frame, on the hourly time frame. And so far, its results are quite stable and predictable. I won't remove it from the portfolio for now. It works with a small trading drawdown. I'm satisfied for now. Given that, as you can see, I have heavyweight systems with a good profitability percentage that pull the portfolio up even despite temporary losses from other trading bots. Of course, based on this month's results, I will be reallocating capital and most likely, Merkava will be reducing its weight in the portfolio. This adjustment is part of my ongoing process. But let's move on. The Future Econ trading bot, which works with Japanese yen, has been disappointing me lately. It works on the Japanese yen, which has no trend. It's holding on. For the month, it gave minus 3%. It's staying within the trading drawdown, the predicted drawdown. You see, there's this kind of corridor. This also suits me overall. It supports the portfolio when there's a strong market trend. Then the yen is very volatile and can bring in both 15 and 20% profit per month. And in such moments, reversal systems will crash. I keep this bot purely to compensate for the trend movement. But its profitability, of course, doesn't really suit me now. I'm going to refine it. At the moment, I manage a whole huge portfolio of different trading bots. And all of this suits me overall right now, even such a profitability chart. Because this trading bot compensates for the losses of reversal systems during a downturn. Although I'd like its profitability chart to grow, but unfortunately, we have a flat on the Japanese yen right now. Because there's great uncertainty about what will happen next in terms of global security, in terms of World War III. I don't want to escalate, but everything is very bad, as you can see if you watch the news. So, the yen is flatting right now. Moving on. Scalping station. Let's look at the profitability chart of scalping station. I'll find it now. it crashed. But as you can see, overall we have this general straight gray line. The growth line, it's pointing upwards. And this indicates that the system is working within its positive, favorable trend. Over the year, it brought in more than 6% profit. This system works on the time frame. H1, which is the hourly time frame, a medium-term system that performs well in a long-term trend. If it grows in such waves, grows steadily upwards, then, of course, it will suit everyone, me and its future users. If it freezes like the previous bot in such a downward channel, then of course it will be bad. For now, I evaluate this system as a good system. And it supports the portfolio well, although over the week it gave a 1.5% loss. We're coming to this week's disappointment. Project Pegasus. I removed this system from the portfolio due to its results. It showed poor statistics during negative market conditions. Its trading drawdown exceeded 10%. According to the rules, this is a call to action for me, and my action is I am going to remove this system from the current setup, and then I will send it to the lab for further refinement and additional observation. Of course, since it was already included in the portfolio, its results will be, or rather have already been, incorporated into the statistics. It is exactly because of this particular system that the profitability of the core index has fallen. In this way, it curved downwards. If it weren't for Project Pegasus, we would be around zero, but as it is, we're in the negative. This happens, the main thing is to react in time, and I was also saved by the fact that, as a young system, I allocated only a small amount of capital for it to manage. I've shown its profitability chart before, I'll show it again. This is such an ugly descent, up-down rather, a downward movement of the profitability chart. We'll see how it recovers. I won't change it yet, I'll just move it to the lab. We'll see later on. Moving on. Yen Strike is a system that works on the Japanese yen. It's similar to Futuricon, but Futuricon works on the M15 time frame, while Yen Strike works on the hourly time frame. And overall, over the week, well, let's say, it fell to here from 2% to 0.5%. Its trading drawdown was almost 2%. In terms of money, the loss isn't much, and it doesn't have much capital either. And of course, such moments upset me. But as I said, there is no trend on the Japanese yen right now, and I can't judge this system too strictly because a trading bot that works on the Japanese yen trend, it cannot make money during a flat market. The yen is flatting and there's nothing I can do about it. So for now, I'm keeping it in the portfolio. We'll see how it goes. Vertigo. It works on low volatility. The market was very unfavorable for us, very volatile. There weren't many trades. Overall, it went down just a little bit. For the month, the overall performance resulted in a gain of about 3%. Overall, I'm happy with this system because I evaluate results over a month, mostly, as if for myself as a manager and as a developer. But over the week, the system yielded nearly a 3% loss. Again, I'll remind you, the market was very unfavorable. This system likes low volatility, but our volatility was very high. So that's why we got nearly a 3% loss. Prometheus Scalper. Well, ours was actually quite effective, you know. It really did what it was supposed to do. Here is its growth chart. And despite the high volatility, it still found the strength to stay within a consistently profitable range, even in the face of unpredictable conditions. Over the month, it brought in more than 10% profit, and for the week, it was actually nearly 0.5% profit overall, which is a pretty solid result. And the top performer for this week, the one that really stood out among all the systems, turned out to be the Jackal system, which, as I showed you earlier in the video, really performed quite well. It actually demonstrates quite good and promising statistics so far. This is still a young system, and I haven't published it for sale yet, but I am continuing to monitor its progress and performance closely. At this point in time, it shows that it can hold up when the market stagnates, when it's volatile, When the trend shifts to flat, and then from flat to trend again within just 1 or 2 days, these are sudden and sharp reversals. And on such a market, as you know, the market was feverish all through March. This system brought in nearly 12.5% profit overall. So, if we carefully aggregate all of these statistics together, considering each one in detail, then what we get is the core index. This is a new indicator, which, as it turns out, is just slightly lower than the previous one that we had calculated before. In summary, by combining all the relevant data, we arrive at this updated metric. Overall, this is an overall reduction of 1% in terms of the profitability of all trading bots and their individual contribution to this system in total. Of course, on the core index page, I published how I distributed, or rather how the capital is distributed. Each system has its own weight, and so, thanks to its weight in this portfolio, each one contributed profit in its own way. And we ended up with this kind of slight decline. Unfortunately, from what I've noticed, these kinds of volatility spikes don't just pass in a week. If unfavorable conditions have started in the market, they last for at least 2 weeks. So, my forecast for next week is that we'll either be right around zero or we might decrease slightly. Though there's a chance that a certain pullback will occur after all, and we'll start moving up. This is my core index report for the period that we are talking about here is from March the 23rd all the way through to March the 29th, and I will see you again in exactly 1 week from now when April finally comes around and we start a brand new month together. That's all. See you then.